Hey y'all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope this message finds you well. It's me, Muadiu. I wanted to come to you just with a quick message suggestion about for those of you who are going through or just emerged from a difficult time in your life. There's an expression that I love that says that people are like tea bags. We don't know the truth of who we are, who they are, until they're in hot water. The flavor of who they are, just like a tea bag, the truth, the essence of who we are tends to come out when we're in hot water, when we are in trouble, when we're going through a difficult time, when we're being challenged. A couple of months back, I'm now emerging from a very difficult period, a professional period, that at one point had me so stressed out that I had a perpetual knot in my stomach and was just focused on putting out fire after fire after fire after fire. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with my good friend Rita Spinola that I realized that one of the reasons why I was getting into this frenzy was because I had stepped away from my practice, my spiritual practice, because I was too busy and I had lost focus. And I was so connected to what was happening externally that I lost my connection, my internal connection to myself and to God consciousness, the divine. And once she showed that to me and helped me see that, I was able to start to turn things around. Business started to get better, but in some places it got a little worse, just keeping it real. But I started to get better. I started to feel back that connection to myself. And in reconnecting with myself, was better able to deal with what was happening in the business. And as a result of that, things are starting to move forward to the point that I see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And good stuff. And I've been able to reconnect with my passion with regards to professionally, with my vision, and still have work to do, still have a lot of work to do, but feel that internal light has been clicked back on. What's the good news? The good news is that because I have learned to see strife, struggle as a gift, don't want to go through it. Now let's keep that real. If I could leave this planet without going through one more struggle, without having one more problem, I would be just the happiest person on earth. We all would. But the reality is that pain, problems, challenges, that's part of the human experience. It's unavoidable. So we have to arm ourselves with the tools that we can, the best tools that we can to plow through those times and get through the other side. And when we get to the other side, be able to have the discipline and the insight to look back at those times and see what lessons we can pull from them. Difficult times allow us to see the gap between who we say we are and who we actually are. What we say we believe on paper and what we actually believe based on results, based on action. Everybody can be spiritual, right? And I work in a space now in the yoga world where there are a lot of people who call themselves spiritual, right? And however, then when the poop hits the fan, you see a totally different person than the person that they purport to be, the person that they say they are, right? They say they believe in this and that everything works out, but as soon as something goes wrong, they're cussing everybody, they're whining, they're complaining, and go into a state of madness. Not my friends. I have a small circle of friends. I've said it before. My friendship circle is about the size of the circumference of a sharpened pencil, small. But in business, we can't always choose the people that we engage with. So sometimes we're exposed to those types of behaviors as well. And so I've seen and experienced people in business who say they believe one thing about challenge, but as soon as the poop hits the fan, they're over here, acting in a totally different way. For me, coming out of this sort of really challenging period in my business, my professional space, I'm using this gap for my own self-reflection to see, okay, Muadiu, you say you believe that God takes care of you, that you are engulfed in the protection of God and your ancestors. I say that. And I have evidence to show that that is true just based on my life. So why is it then that when you're going through this challenge in business, you didn't fall completely off, but you did start to get involved in some behaviors that are not aligned with who you say that you are? Example, gossiping a little bit more with people that I shouldn't be doing, entertaining people with their complaints and finding myself sort of feeding into that as well. And in some cases, even initiating the complaining. That's not who I want to be in life. That's not the kind of person that I want to be. And what I found was that during that strife-ridden uh, difficult time, some of those behaviors resurface. Because that's who I used to be. Back in the day, I'll cuss you out without even thinking about it. I'm a wordsmith. I can get people, and I go for the jugular. I would complain. I would whine. I would talk about people like nobody's business. And it took me a lot of work to get to the point where I am now, where that's not my default. However, what I discovered during that difficult time was that when it gets really, really, really hard, and when I'm experiencing things that I've never experienced before, when I'm seeing things that I've never seen before, that I have to fight extra hard to stay in that state of productivity, to stay in that state of faithfulness, to stay in that state of not, toxic positivity or toxic optimism, but stay in that space of recognizing it's hard right now, but it's going to get better. It's hard right now, but God got me. It's hard right now, but I know that I'm equipped to move this thing forward. And to have the discipline to minimize my interactions with people who just don't roll that way. So for me, the difficult times from which I'm emerging right now showed me, I'm using that as an opportunity to see the gap between where I am and where I want to go, who I am and who I want to become. And so in that way, when I look at it that way, as difficult as it has been, as challenging as it has been, as annoying in some cases as it has been a gift, because I am emerging stronger. I'm emerging with more skills in certain ways that I didn't have before. I'm emerging with more clarity about who I am and what I'm capable of. I'm also emerging with more clarity of how much more I need to do, how much work I need to put in so that I can grow to that next level. And quite frankly, that excites me, because oftentimes what people thrive in is the opportunity to make progress. And I'm always looking for an opportunity to grow and progress in my life. So recognizing that gap between who I am and who I want to become, who I say I am and who I actually am, was a gift, because it gives me information that I can use to propel myself forward. So everybody that came from my neck, everybody who behaved in a way that I found to be either unprofessional or a betrayal, whatever that adjective that I'm going to use, that negative way, as actually a gift. Because number one, it showed me the truth of, what I'm dealing with. But more importantly, it showed me the truth of who I am. And it gives me an opportunity to close that gap. And I close that gap by doing my work. I close that gap by stepping back into my spiritual practice in a different way. I close that gap by making sure that I'm clear about my boundaries and making sure that I keep people at the distance that's needed for us to do business, but for them not to get into my consciousness. I have to look at the gap and also look at, where did I let myself down? Where did I fall flat? Where did I not follow through? What did I do to contribute to the wahala and the mess that I'm emerging from? And what can I do differently in the future to minimize the chances of that thing repeating? Now, something else is going to happen. That's part of life, y'all. We've got to really accept that. That's part of the human experience. Pain, disappointment, all of that stuff. We can't get away from it. But we can choose, we can manage how we walk through it if we're willing to do the work. If we're willing to look at the gap between who we say we are and who we really are, what is revealed to us about ourselves during times of stress, during times of strife, during times of problems and challenges, etc. If we're willing to do that, then the next time we find ourselves in a period of unrest, in a period of challenge, we can move a little bit differently, and we can close that gap between who we say we are and who we really are. We can close the gap between what we want to really believe about ourselves and what's actually true. So as you go through your week, as you go through your day, if you're going through something, whether it's in your business, in your personal life, physically, spiritually, whatever that thing is, do your best to step into those tools and practices that hold you steady, whether it's the prayer, the meditation, the walking, whatever that thing is. Keep moving forward. Do the best that you can to get through it with all your marbles, with your sanity intact. And then when things start to sort of calm down, take some time for reflection. Look back on that experience and see what it revealed about you. What did you learn about you? What is the gap between what you say you believe and what you actually believe, as evidenced by how you behaved during that time of strife, because that's where the learning is. That's where the growth is. That's where the opportunity is for you to move forward and for you to come higher. And in my opinion, my experience, anything that allows me to grow higher in my consciousness, anything that allows me to move deeper into my faith, anything that allows me to experience a heightened sense of just awareness and maturity is a gift, even if the gift comes wrapped in a trash bag, which it did. So we can't escape pain. We can't escape problems. We can't escape the troubles that come in the world. But when we grow through them and we get through them, if we use them as an opportunity for self-reflection and use it as an opportunity to study what was revealed about ourselves during those dark times, then no time is wasted. It wasn't in vain, and you can use that to fuel yourself, to fuel your future growth as you move forward. All right. I hope you got it. I hope this was helpful to you. It was helpful to me just hearing it out loud, because I actually feel better having spoken this out sort of in the universe. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you're going through, lessons that you've learned through a dark period or a dark time, and I'll hit you up later. Bye.